Hi, and welcome to the Advanced Algebra Tutor. In this course, we're going to continue where my other DVDs left off and continue on our path of algebra and pretty much covering most algebra that anyone would encounter. Okay, so I struggled a little bit with what to call this class because I titled it Advanced Algebra, but I want you to know as we start off on this journey together that nothing in this class is really hard. Okay, it has a title that sounds hard, Advanced Algebra. Okay, but nothing is difficult if it's explained in the right way. So my goal is to teach you everything step by step so that no topic sounds tough or intimidating or hard. And we're going to do that by working example problems for every single topic here. Okay, so just stick with me step by step and you'll be able to do just fine. The other thing I want to say is that this class is kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge of things that I felt like people have requested over the years and that I felt like people should understand when going on and continuing their studies of algebra. Things in this course are covered either in an Algebra 3 class, sometimes there's a class called Algebra 3, depending on if you take that. Some of these topics are actually taught in Algebra 2, depending on the class that you take and the teacher that you have. And all of these things are covered in a college algebra class. So if you're taking college algebra, you're definitely going to need this DVD and also my other algebra DVDs to ace that class, and it's very comprehensive once we have those, okay? So let's just get started here. The title of this section, the first section here, is called Graphs of Functions, okay? In my previous DVDs, we talked about graphing lines, we talked about y equals mx plus b, and graphing a line, and on the left-hand side, it was always y equals something, mx plus b, or 3x plus 2, or y equals 5, or something. And what we were doing there was we were creating a table of x values and y values, and we were plotting them, and we were drawing lines mainly is what we were drawing. And now we're going to expand our envelope into the realm of functions, okay? So I want to dispel this myth with you right now. A function is very, very simple. A function is a fancy word that just means y equals something, okay? So instead of saying y equals 3x plus 2, you have a function that you define that equals 3x plus 2. It's just a new word for the same thing you already know. Okay, and we're going to see that right here. So let's just get started, and I'll write a definition on the board. I'm not going to write too many definitions in this class, but I'm going to do it here. A function, okay, a function, which is a term that you really need to know, and we're going to denote this function f of x. This is not f times x. Parentheses here does not mean multiplication. It's f of x, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. All this thing does is it takes an input, and the input is x. That's why it's f of x. It's taking an input. We call that x. And this is my terminology here, it spits out, I'm actually going to write this here, spits out another value, and we call that other value f of x. Okay, so this is exactly what it is. It's a function. I don't know why exactly they call it a function. I guess you could probably say that it performs some function on some values of x. And so it's kind of like this box, okay? A function is kind of like a box. Just imagine this empty box. You have no idea what's inside of it, but we label it f of x. We take values in, and these values are x. And by the way, we have a lot of letters here. This is a value. These are just values. These are, x could be 1, x could be 2, x could be 25, x could be 1.5, x could be 1.9, whatever. Any number you want, put it in this thing and into this box. And inside of here is some mathematical gears. We'll look at some functions and show you what they look like. But it's something that changes these input values and it dumps out some different output values. We call these values f of x. It means f, which is a function, has operated or has, otherwise messed with these values of input x, and you get some new values out. So you might put 1 on the input here, and you might get 7 on the output. You might put 2 on the input here, and you might get, 39 on the output, whatever. And f of x is just some mathematical equation that describes what happens to the input and transforms it into the output. So f of x, which we'll look at all day here, that is actually the mathematical beast that takes the input and changes it into the output. Now, this is no different than what you already know from my other DVDs and also introductory algebra. F of x, they just called it y. Okay, that's all. So when you were dealing with equations of lines, you had something like y is equal to 3x plus 2. Well, this is exactly the same thing as the function f of x is equal to 3x plus 2. You see, this is why I get frustrated with math, history, and textbooks, because they spend all of this time teaching you y equals 3x plus 2. You finally understand that you put a value of x in, and you get a value of y out, multiply times 3, add 2, you get a value of y, and you understand this finally. You understand that you put a value of x in, you get a value of y. And then one day you turn the page and they talk about functions, f of x. And the students think this has got to be something totally different because, my goodness, why would they put another section in the book if it was not the same thing? Well, it's exactly the same thing. This is no different. This is just taking a value of x in, which is all you were doing here. You're putting a value of x in. Put a value of x in. It goes right into here. Multiply and add. And the value f of x that you get out is just the same thing as y. It's just a new label.